Welcome to Seven Rivers Sports. I'm your host, Terry Erickson. Each week, an inside look into sports, wellness, and into fitness. And you already know all that. But you don't know is that we have some special guests this week from the home of the Redhawks in Galesville. My guests this week, Sawyer, Schmidt, Luke, Vance. Welcome to the show, guys.
Yeah, thanks for having us.
Just finished the basketball season. Not the kind of season you hoped for. In a variety of ways, an abbreviated season, an abrupt ending, beaten by Durand at the end of the season. But I worked a couple of your games as an official. You probably don't want to remember that, but I remember you both played well. And so, thoughts on your senior season, Luke?
Wasn't the greatest in my opinion, but like we had to deal with it. So, I mean, could have been a little better, I guess.
I was looking at the statistics just the other day, and I know. You're right. I mean, it wasn't what you were hoping for, but you both scored well, and you did some good things too, sir.
Yeah, I think. Well, we weren't really had that experience like last year, but I mean, since the coronavirus and everything, the season's just been a struggle, and we just had to bring along some of our freshmen that really stepped up, and I feel like season we just did pretty well. Other than that.
A season unlike anything maybe in the history of high school athletics, but this is what a lot of people maybe struggle with or don't understand. So you're participating in sports, your prom perhaps taken away, your homecoming, pep assemblies, only a select number of fans can go to the game. And of course when you go to a Red Hawk game, and I've refereed many of them over the years, and gyms all over, it's packed with fans and students. So it was a quiet gymnasium, and certainly it affected how you approached the game. It wasn't as much fun. Was it, Luke?
No, I feel like the fans usually bring a lot of energy for us and stuff, so it was kind of hard. Like, it was like silent in the gym sometimes, so it was pretty difficult to deal with, but I think we got through pretty good.
Well, I admired that, but I think back to my own playing career, and that was hard. And was there a feeling of just a missing component that you struggled with, Sawyer, during the season?
I don't really know if there was a missing component. Like, I'd say we had everything there. It was just, I don't know, hard to adapt to everything, the different rules, the wearing the mask and everything. We just thought that was really hard to do all that and the different rules and regulations with the COVID.
Again, as we tape the show this week, Sawyer, Schmidt, Luke, Vance, as we tape the show, America in crisis, racial issues, certainly a toxic government issue with the election, and the pandemic, and it leaves a lot of people struggling. Fast forward to the country that you want to see as you grow older, Luke. How do you want to see it compared to all the struggles you've went through now?
Well, I hope that in the future people just like end up being more accepting of each other, aren't as like judgmental and stuff, and I hope like we can just get through without having all this racial inequality stuff going on around the world, or just in America in general, I guess.
Some people live, especially in smaller communities where there's not a lot of diversity and so on, they're oblivious to what's going on. They live in like a cocoon. They're not aware, and that's unfortunate. But I know a lot of your teachers and staff and coaches and so on, I think, and your parents, they make you aware of what's going on because it's your world, not just Trempealeau County. Thoughts on that, Sawyer?
Well, I mean, just throughout growing up in school and everything, my parents, who are teachers, they just tell me everything, the rights from the wrongs and everything, and just all these problems that have been happening in the world. They just expect us to know like everything, to do what's right.
It's your world one day, guys. You know that, so it's up to you to make the change. Let's pivot for a minute to go back down memory lane. Let's go back to how it all began, meaning your introduction to sports, how you got, obviously some of you recognize your skills, and people inspired you, but the beginning was much earlier than middle school and high school. You were you had some great experiences when you were younger. Luke?
Yeah, I just remember elementary school, like being at recess, playing football with each other. That kind of got me started on that path. And then my friends would always ask me to race them. So I think that's where the track kind of started for me. But otherwise, yeah, just the simple stuff like that.
Did anybody say to you, Luke, you have a gift in a variety of ways, and particularly track and field?
Yeah, our football coach, Lewis Hurd, during practice, he'd always tell me I had God-given speed. So that was one of the things, I guess, but otherwise, not really.
I know you know your family really well, of course, Sawyer, because my roots are in Ettrick, in French Creek. And I know you come from an athletic family, too. And you were introduced to sports when you were very, very young.
Well, I think, well, my dad's always been a coach his whole life, and I've always been that kid that would just come along with him, kind of watch everybody, and I just wanted to be like that when I grew up, so it's kind of where it started for me.
Was there any experiences when you were very young playing on some of those youth teams that really were factors in even driving you more to want to be a high school athlete?
I'd say the AU tournaments growing up were a big part of that for me.
And so you traveled quite a bit and you were exposed to some elite athletes in some competitive situations. Well, as we talk, we just finished the you've just finished the basketball season, and now as we tape the show, you're just starting football. So looking at your schedule, of course, everyone that watches the show, I assume, and everybody in the Cooley region, perhaps the Midwest, knows the history of GET football under John Steffenhagen. Lots of success in the Cooley and in the postseason and so on. And you have an abbreviated 5-game season beginning on March 26th, ending against a pretty formidable opponent, Arcadia. In Arcadia, at that nice field they have, by the way. Of course, a lot of people maybe don't know this, but I get through Galesville quite a bit, and your field, maybe you want to share that, your field sort of behind the school, you can't see it on the highway, is pretty special too.
Yeah, it's a hidden gem, in my opinion. I mean, usually people don't see our school and think, oh, they have this $14 million field. I mean, that's kind of crazy, but I'm appreciative of that.
Boy, you should be. How many schools, communities that small have something that spectacular? What were you thinking when, you've played on that field, of course, but it's relatively new and it's pretty special.
Yeah, well, I mean, just looking at all these other schools around us or whatever, and especially everybody having the altered spring season, I think it's just really nice having turf. You don't have the problems with the regular grass field, plus everybody wants to use our field for the spring too, so I think it's pretty nice.
Well, schools that have a spring season, starting now, you've started this week, and no practice facility, no turf, so now they have to practice in the mud and the dirt and so on, and we're supposed to get bad weather again. So, I mean, that's why they want to be on your field, that's for sure. But both of my guests this week, students first, athletes second, both academically solid, taking tough classes, National Honor Society, all academic. So that's something that you prioritize, both of you. Luke, what's your thought on taking those tough classes and excelling in the classroom?
Well, my parents always told me that college-wise I would have to be better in school than I was athletics. Usually, like, that's what I should work towards being better at, so that way I'd have like another opportunity if athletics didn't work out for me or something. So that's just how I looked at it. But
it's difficult because you're 3 sports: basketball, track and field, football, and yet you're at the top of your class. So work habits, prioritizing your time and so on, not a challenge?
Not usually. Usually I just use my time wisely in school. But otherwise, if I have stuff to do outside of school, then I just make sure to do that before I do anything like fun, I guess.
So you've always sought the toughest classes?
I like the challenge, yeah.
And you've done well in all of them?
Most of the time.
And Sawyer, you said certainly you're 4 sports, add golf to that, and baseball, not track and field, unlike this the star track and field athlete here, but you've excelled in baseball and football and golf and certainly in basketball. And you've also kept your grades, of course. I assume that's an expectation of mom and dad, too.
Yeah, well, especially them being teachers, I think, and having siblings that are just excelled and were the top of their class, too. I think they just pushed me to try and be where they are right now.
So speaking of siblings that were, and I'm aware that they were excellent in the classroom, too, did that put even more pressure on you?
Yeah, because that kind of set where the bar was. I feel like my parents we were all raised the same, all excelled pretty well in the sports field, and I think they just thought the academic side was just always going to be there too.
Toughest, do you have some classes that are really tough?
There's a couple, yeah.
What are they?
I'm taking like AP Calc. It's pretty tough, but I don't know. I kind of like the math side too and all that, and taking like AP Bio too. And I mean, it's just gonna be going into my field for my major in college. So.
A lot of extra homework though when you take those AP classes?
There's a few.
Papers and all the other kind of things that go with it, but that's a prelude to what the expectations are at the next level, isn't it, Luke?
Yeah. I mean, our teachers are pretty, like he was talking about how we might get homework occasionally, but our teachers are pretty good about like setting us up so we don't have that much. They give us a lot of time in class.
Good, good. But just so you know, once you get to college, there is homework.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of reading. So it's not going to be in class. So get ready for that. All right, we're going to step aside just for a minute. When we come back, more here on Seven Rivers.
With our busy lives, it's a comfort to know that we can still remember loved ones in a traditional way with a monument. Lewiston Monuments in Lewiston, Minnesota has been helping families purchase a monument for over 4 generations. You'll find a large selection of beautiful granite, marble, and bronze monuments, all at competitive prices. And they're a full-service company, so they also do straightening, cleaning, and repair of monuments. Stop in or call for a no-obligation consultation, or visit lewistonmonument.com for more information.
You know, the thing I'm most proud of when I think about our company is the reputation that we've been able to build in this community. Our technicians have done a great job going out and performing magnificent jobs for the customer. And our customers have rewarded us with some really great reviews online.
We have over 150 5-star reviews online right now. Our technicians do a great job out there, and our reviews show it.
We can say without hesitation, when you choose Schneider Heating and Air Conditioning, you'll be glad you did.
Welcome back to Seven Rivers Sports this week. GET Redhawks, Sawyer Schmidt, and Luke Vance. Well, I talked to Coach McCutcheon just recently, Sawyer, and know him quite well, and he had a couple thoughts about you, saying this: Sawyer is one of the most unselfish players he has ever coached. He always has the ability to make the extra pass, has great vision on the court, versatile, and second all-time in school history in assists. That says a lot right there. Serving others by passing. 5th in all-time in scoring, in steals, and scoring. 865 points, first team all-conference, and a great leader. It welcomed freshmen and got them involved in the offense. So you have left on the basketball court quite a legacy.
Yeah, I think Coach just really, I don't know, I feel like he just really kind of showed us the ways, and he just pushed us to, and me personally, just to have those goals and to kind of achieve them throughout my basketball career in high school.
Felt good about it?
Yeah, it was pretty accomplished, yeah.
Well, Luke Vance, when you think of GET, you certainly think of basketball. You think of all sports because the Red Hawks have excelled. The Redmen excelled before the Red Hawks. I remember all those previous coaches up there too, and many of the athletes. But you think of track and field, you think of Davis Wenthy, who was on the show last year. You think of a lot of really good male and female track and field athletes. And Ryan Mendez, I've known a little bit, and he's said some lofty things about Luke Vance, your leadership, your work habits. Now, this is what's really interesting, too. Luke Vance, you've PR'd in 3 different events. Rookie of the Year as a freshman, went to state and competed as a freshman. As a sophomore, I can't even, it would take too long to read all the things you've accomplished, both all the way through, and then last year, oh my goodness, nothing. So it's all building for 2021. But did you ever think that you would accomplish all of that beginning in your freshman year?
Yeah, I was holding the goals there, but I never actually believed I would be able to do those things.
What was the most, out of all these things, first place in the conference, regional champs as a team, sectional champs as a team, competing at state as a freshman, as I mentioned, any of these these accomplishments were really aha moments?
Yeah, definitely going to state as a freshman was probably the biggest thing, because that set the bar for myself basically. Then I knew that I could make it all 4 years possibly.
But you're not the kind of young person that is satisfied. I know that, and you want to accomplish more before you end and move to the next chapter of your life in football and in track and field. And hopefully there will be a track and field state meet here in La Crosse in July. I think they're planning on it.
Yeah, I believe so.
Or June, I should say, one of the two. But what are we going to see for Ryan Mendez and his best athlete, Luke Vance?
I'm hoping that I'll be able to make it in at least 3. Hopefully. We'll see, though. Just all depends on how the season works out, I guess.
And you're looking forward to not only football but baseball, because that's you have accomplished a lot in that sport.
Yeah, well, I mean, golf was always my kind of first love for that spring sport. And, I mean, our assistant coach for basketball is also the head coach for baseball, Coach Havel. And he, ever since sophomore year, he just thought joining the team or whatever would help, and, just maybe fall in love with the sport again.
Well, it doesn't hurt that you live on a golf course. So you walk right out of the front door and take 5 steps and you're right there.
I actually hit golf balls from the top of my house onto the green on hole 2.
Not the roof, you mean, just
yeah, just in the front yard. Yeah.
In the front yard. So, but Luke, your family has been a big supporter of yours, and they're into athletics and leadership and so on, aren't they?
Yeah. My dad, he's been in management positions all that I can remember through when I was growing up. So that kind of helped a little bit. He gave me that work ethic. And my mom, she's been basically the same thing as my dad, so that's been helpful.
So you graduated in May, and then what's next for Luke Vance?
I'm still undecided on where I'm going to go to college, but I know for a fact that I'm going to be doing either football or track, or maybe even both.
And you have a couple options. One of them here?
Yeah, one's UWL. And then the other one is North Dakota State.
When will you make up your mind?
It'll have to be by the end of the track season at least. I think there's new rules this year because of COVID that extended a little bit.
Well, another year of eligibility is what you mean, but there's a pretty good track program at UWL, and I'm sure the coaching staff would like to have you there.
Yeah, if I could go to UWL and do both track and football, that'd be pretty fun.
Yeah, well, that's not easy, but you indicated that your dad was one of your role models.
Yeah, like I said before, had that work ethic. He instilled it into me ever since I was little. He's always tried to do his best to work his way up in the companies that I've been a part of. So I look up to him for that.
I know, Sawyer, you've, as we talked about, you've excelled in many sports, but you are looking, which is great news if our viewers didn't know that, you will be right down the street from here at UWL.
Yeah. Yeah, I'll be playing football at UWL. I mean, just looking back freshman year football and all my other sports, just, I don't know, thinking I wouldn't be here just for football. I thought maybe my sport would be basketball or golf, but just getting the chance from the coaches at UWL, I mean.
So you talked to the coaches, they recruited you. I know the coaching staff real well. In fact, I'm going to be out there this weekend watching them. They're having their spring practices starting this week, actually. And did you have other opportunities, or what convinced you to go to UWL?
I mean, UWL was one of my top choices anyways for college, and just the chance to play a sport and just like keep playing. I don't know, just that one visit I had, I just kind of knew that was the place I wanted to go.
And there's lots of opportunities in exercise, sports science, and so on, and many other careers, and that's what you're looking to do?
Yeah. I've just always been fascinated with it. I've just looking back, I've had a bunch of injuries before. Just I don't know, I want to help people, like in exercise, sports science, and I don't know, kind of looking at like the physical therapy track for that.
Good. What a opportunity there is at UWL. A lot of people just can't ever get into that program, and they're not fortunate enough. So you picked the right school for that, and you want to get into kinesiology and some kind of in that area. Is that?
Yeah, almost same as him. I feel like because I've gone through the physical therapy process, and I remember my therapist always being like super helpful and stuff for me. So I just want to be able to be that same person for somebody else that really needs it.
Have you had setbacks yourself? Some injuries?
Yeah, going into my freshman year, I had a lesion in my ankle bones, so that took me out for almost an entire summer.
And you've had some injuries, but nothing serious, Sawyer?
Well, I mean, most of my serious injuries were, like middle school, elementary year, but like last football, I dislocated my shoulder. Probably, it was homecoming week.
Yeah, I think so.
That was kind of a, challenge, I'd say. Just trying to play through that.
Well, you both have to finish strong, so no injuries now in the next few months. But I know, of course, as we mentioned, I know your family real well, and your dad, you mentioned your dad's one of your role models.
Yeah, he just, I don't know, my dad's been like a coach and kind of a leader throughout the community, I feel like, and everybody just respects him, and he kind of just pushes everybody, and now that he's the AD, I don't know, I see him every day and kind of see like what he's kind of like in the school. It's
hard for him to be your coach. He was your coach when you were younger, now being an administrator. Is that a challenge for you?
A little bit, not really. It's just, I don't know, he's always busy from time to time doing it, and I kind of adapt and just kind of older, and now I understand like this is what he wants to do and all that.
Can you hear him when you're on the floor or on the field?
Yeah, a lot, yeah.
So what's your reaction? Like, Dad, come on!
He's that extra coach, for sure.
Well, but it's encouragement.
Yeah.
You're both leaders. How would you, Sawyer, define leadership?
I defined a leader as one who kind of directs everybody, kind of pushes everybody towards like a main goal, and kind of just sets everybody to a high standard.
And your philosophy of life it's impressive as a young person, because you said it's live life to the absolute fullest. Do you do that every day?
Well, I try to, yeah. I'd say, I just try and wake up every morning, try and do my best at everything I do.
Conscientiously, you think about that?
Yeah.
And I know leadership to you Luke, is all about making improvements, making strides, being an example.
Yeah, leadership is really important, because without it, in my opinion, I don't think a lot of programs or like teams would be able to get to where they are, like really successful ones.
And philosophy of life is you're not satisfied necessarily with who you are. In other words, you want more. You want to achieve more, don't you?
Yeah, if there's room for an excuse, there's always room for improvement too. So if you want to like take a day off, say early morning lifting, you get up in the morning, you think you don't want to go. Whenever I tell myself that, I just almost like regret saying it. It's that bad for me, I guess.
Is there something our viewers don't know about Luke Vance?
Yeah, I have a lot of hobbies, I guess. I mean, one of the random things that people don't know about me is I like to cook.
Really?
That's surprising, yeah.
I wonder how many of your peers at boys at GET would say that, right? Well, Sawyer, wouldn't I know that? Think any of your other friends would?
Probably not. I'd be surprised if they did.
What's something that our viewers may be surprised to learn about Sawyer Schmidt?
So I'm just involved throughout, like, sports, hobbies. Like, what do you mean, like?
Well, so what's something our viewers may not know about you before you're even 10 years old?
Well, living on a golf course, I've had 2 hole-in-ones before the age of 10.
Did you guys hear that? 2 hole-in-ones before you reach 10 years old. That's not fair, Sawyer. I haven't had any, and I'm a lot older than 10.
It's luck.
It must be. Well, it's been a pleasure having you two on the show, coming from Galesville to the studio, and we wish you the best in the spring season and into the future. So thanks for coming on, Sawyer Schmidt and Luke Vance.
Thanks for having us again.
All right. We'll be back with some closing thoughts right after this.
You know, the thing I'm most proud of when I think about our company is the reputation that we've been able to build in this community. Our technicians have done a great job going out and performing magnificent jobs for the customer. And our customers have rewarded us with some really great reviews online.
We have over 150 5-star reviews online right now. Our technicians do a great job out there, and our reviews show it.
We can say without hesitation, when you choose Schneider Heating and Air Conditioning, you'll be glad you did.
When you're faced with the decision of selecting a monument to honor someone dear to you, call Lewiston Monuments for a no-obligation consultation. Lewiston Monument is a full-service monument company, serving families in Iowa, Minnesota, and Wisconsin for over 4 generations. You'll find beautiful granite, marble, and bronze memorials, all at competitive prices. Their experts can help you design the perfect and unique memorial. Lewiston Monument. Call today or on the web at lewistonmonument.com.
Well, 2 games this past weekend, both at Swanson Field on the north side. On Friday night, the Logan Rangers entertained the Huskies from Eau Claire North. Both teams searching for their first win of the season. Logan's physicality was front and center early in the first quarter as they dominated the line of scrimmage and coasted to a 20-0 lead at the intermission. The Eau Claire defense stiffened up in the second half and limited the Rangers to only 1 touchdown. Senior halfback Trent Wheeland was our player of the game, racking up 70 yards and scoring an early Logan touchdown. Dorellis Phillips and sophomore Eli Reynolds also scored for Logan on the ground. Quarterback Josh Waite threw a 40-yard pass to junior wide receiver Ryan Bai for 6 points. Junior fullback Martell Owens had a PAT in the fourth quarter. The Rangers' defense made it difficult for Husky quarterback Kyle Greenland to find the end zone, limiting Eau Claire to only 83 total yards. Logan takes his 1-2 record to Superior on Saturday for a 3 p.m. game, while the 0-3 Eau Claire North Huskies host Central on Friday at 7 p.m. Final, Logan 26, Eau Claire North 0. On Saturday, Nick Regner and I were at Swanson Field as the Central Riverhawks would entertain the Superior Spartans. Both teams 2-0 on the abbreviated spring season. Central scored first on a 24-yard pass, quarterback Mason Herlitsky to 6'5" wide receiver Porter Protaski. PAT kick by senior Andrew Johnson, 7-0 Riverhawks. 3 more TDs for Central in the second quarter. Hurlitsky to player of the game, junior halfback Jackson Warren for a 54-yard touchdown. Then the same combination connecting for 60 yards out. And then you guessed it, Jackson Warren finding the end zone from 3 yards out. Johnson on all 3 PAT kicks. Superior scored with 4 minutes before halftime as Carter Fonger would run 14 yards to pay dirt. 28-7 at half. 2 TDs in the third quarter for Central. A Warren run and a Hurlitsky scramble from 2 yards out. Only 1 score in the fourth. Spartan player of the game, Ben Riley, intercepted a Mason Elston pass and ran 98 yards for a score. 452 total yards for Central, only 116 total yards for Superior. Central takes the 3-0 record to Eau Claire North on Friday and will be at Carson Park for the 7 p.m. kickoff. Superior entertains Logan on Saturday at 3 p.m. Final from Swanson Field, the Central Riverhawks 42, the Superior Spartans 14. Well, that does it this week here on 7 Rivers Sports. I'm your host, Terry Erickson, hoping that you have an active and a healthy week ahead.